In this demo video, we're going to learn how to draw the transition for that dynamic light source in the sky and how to reflect what's going on in the sky inside the blank windows. So you've completed video number 1. All your buildings are highlighted, shaded, burnished. Your windows are blank. The very first step you want to do is to take a big eraser and you want to clean out. There are smudges from the colored pencil. When you burnish, you may have noticed that there was colored pencil dust going everywhere, right? So if you want, you can pause the video now and do that. Get the sky cleaned up first. And you're gonna wanna erase your RVP and your LVP letters there, because that's where we're gonna put your light source, or your sun, if you will. All right, so I've gotten all the pencil smudges erased out of the sky. The first 3 colors you're going to need are red, yellow, and orange. If you have the magenta in your set, magenta looks really nice as well. Now I'm going to start with the sun on the left of mine, because the left sides of my buildings are my highlighted sides. You may have done the opposite. If your right sides of the buildings are sunny, then your sun's going to go over here. So I'm going to start right on that horizon line there, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the edge of the sun like it would be a sunrise or a sunset. Because the lower the light source is in the sky, here versus up here, the farther the cast shadows work their way out, and the more 3D that space is going to look. Okay. Now you'll notice in my example, the streaks and the color transition all point towards that light source, towards that vanishing point. And they go up and out and work their way back down across the tops of the buildings. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to take my yellow pencil, and this is what I talked about in the last video. More of a shading technique. You don't want to plant your hand and scribble and go a bunch of different directions. I would suggest taking your rough draft paper or a piece of printer paper to kind of cover so you don't smudge your beautiful buildings there. Because my hand's sliding across the paper. And I'm going to lightly, about 50%, just like I did the base colors in the buildings, I'm still letting some white of the paper show through. But I'm going to lightly color in that yellow base color for the start of my sky over here. And it's going to run all the way up and off the top of my page. All right, then I'm going to take the orange pencil, and I'm going to start about 3 to 4 inches from where I started my initial yellow, and I'm going to lightly streak that color into it as well. Both colors are showing. So I start 3 inches past here, and I'm going to go a couple 3 inches past where the yellow stopped here. So it's the same size section, it's just moving up and over a little farther. And you can use your finger along the top edge of the building there to keep from crossing that line and maintain that pencil direction. Okay. Then I'm going to take my red or my magenta, either one, right? I've got the magenta, so I'm going to use it. And I'm going to start the magenta a couple inches past where I started the orange. So in this part of the sky, we literally have 3 colors intermixing and showing simultaneously at once. And that's going to give it that very smooth, subtle transition from warm colors to cool colors. And that magenta is going to go about to the middle of the drawing. Just like that. What we're trying to avoid is a rainbow across the sky with a yellow next to an orange, next to a magenta, next to a blue, right? We want those to all blend together seamlessly. So now we're going to start with the cool pencils, and you should have a sky blue, a regular blue, a purple, and if you have navy blue, that's great, but if you don't need it. I'm going to show what it looks like just in case, for those that are interested, but it doesn't have to get that dark. Now, here's the most important part. That subtle orange that stops about right here should never touch a blue. They should never cross over each other because orange and blue together are going to make a brown color, and we don't want a brown ugly streak in the middle of our sky. So this is where my orange ends. So I'm not going to let my sky blue go any farther than that. That's kind of tell me where to start that sky blue. If you don't have a sky blue pencil, a regular blue pencil lightly will do the same thing. And that sky blue is actually going to go all the way off the other side of the drawing over here as a base color for the additional cool colors. Right down to the other horizon line. So again, it's got that 50% coverage. It still looks like crayon, but it's smooth. It's not scribbly. Okay. Once we have the sky blue down, we're going to start with the regular blue pencil, and be sure and read them because especially navy blue and purple look very similar on the outside. And the regular blue and the navy blue do as well. So you don't want to accidentally put a color down before it's time. So the regular blue is going to start just past where the sky blue started, right? Sky blue started here, navy blue or regular blue starts here, another couple of inches. And it's going to run off the page as well. So the farther away we get from our light source over here, the darker that transition should continue to carry across the paper. So it shouldn't get lighter again on the other side of the buildings. So I've got sky blue, I've got regular blue. Now I'm going to go in and add my purple. Now, if you're going for more of a night scene, or you want your sky to be darker because you have a lot of bright, warm buildings, that is just a simple adjustment where you have less of the warm, right? It's smaller, probably ends about right here, and then more of the cool on this side of the paper. And again, if you've got phantom, like I've got phantom lines that are starting to show up from where I erased, that's okay. But we want enough pencil down that when we go to burnish it with the blender, it's gonna fill that paper in. and give us that nice pastel look. And then the last color, if you have it and so choose, would be the navy blue. And I actually start the navy blue over on the horizon line over here. And come up and across, kind of coming from the other direction. There we go. Have it fade back into the purple. All right, so that's what the transition should look like. The rest of the process is getting that magic pencil out again, that colorless blender, and you're gonna burnish the opposite direction of your pencil stroke. So if my pencil stroke is going diagonal up towards the right, I am going to burnish, make sure your pencil lead's clean. I'm going to burnish going up diagonal towards the left. And you are just going to complete that burnishing process all the way across the sky. So at this point, you can pause the video, get those transitions in place, get your burnishing done. So do that now. Once the sky's done, you can start the video again and we'll look at how to make the windows look reflective. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of show you some sections so that you know what your goal is as far as that color intensity. If you're burnishing the sky and you cannot get it to fill into that level of coverage, then you need to go back in with more colored pencil, right? There's not enough color to push into that paper fiber and get that nice, solid pastel look. All right, so I'm just gonna do a couple little sections so you can see how the burnishing changes the intensity, right? It definitely makes the colors bolder in the sky. So you know what that coverage should look like. I'm not going to make you watch me color the entire sky. But again, this is kind of a test to make sure you have enough color down to begin with. And be sure you're going the opposite direction, right? That's going to take half the work out of it because that pushes the pencil lead directly into those white gaps. All right, so the last thing we need to complete are the reflections in the windows. Now that we've got the transition in the sky, we know how far over the reds and the magentas go. We know which windows are going to have which colors. So the first thing on this part, again, go in, clean out your windows because there's probably smudges in them. that you don't want to show up in your reflections. Or dirty your color. All right, so you've got all those cleaned out. So our goal on this part is to make the windows reflect the sky that it's facing. So the windows on the sunny sides of my buildings here, here, and here, and here are all gonna have these colors in this section of the drawing, right? That yellow, that pink, that sky blue. I had sky blue come a lot farther over on this one because I made it really dark with the navy blue over here. You may or may not have sky blue this far over. If you don't have sky blue this far over, which I don't on this one, right? These windows are all gonna have yellow, orange, and magenta in them. So I'm just gonna start with a light yellow streak. And notice I'm going the opposite direction of the streaks in the sky because it's mirroring it. If you do it the same direction, it almost looks like you're missing the back of the building and you can see through it. And that looks kind of weird. That was one mistake I made on that first one I did, that example I was showing you. The direction of the lines went the wrong way. And then I'm gonna put just a little bit of magenta in there. I'm even gonna do just a little bit of blue, just so we get that it's glass. And maybe not all the way through, but just in little areas here and there. Okay. And then be sure your blender's clean. And then you're gonna burnish those, blend them the opposite direction. Okay, and that's gonna give you that reflected glass look. Now, all the windows on the right side of my drawing are gonna reflect these colors, the sky blue, the regular blue, and purple. So these windows on this side will start with a base of sky blue, scribbled in. All right. And then a little bit of purple. And again, how dark you make these kind of depends on how dark you made your sky. And a little bit of regular blue. Purple there. Oops. And then these get burnished as well, going the opposite direction. Okay, so at this point, you're gonna finish your windows, your sky, you're gonna finish your windows. The third video will be about cast shadows and coloring your ground.